towering against the endless Egyptian sky, rising from the golden sands of the desert, stand the most iconic structures in human history, the Pyramids of Giza. They are not just stone and mortar. They are the whispers of a civilization that ruled for thousands of years, the echoes of pharaohs who sought immortality, and the greatest architectural mysteries ever built. How were these colossal monuments built over 4,500 years ago without modern technology? What secrets do they hide within their ancient walls? And why do they continue to captivate the world even today? Join me as we unravel the mysteries, history, and incredible engineering behind the Pyramids of Giza, one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. Get ready for a journey through time, where we step into the land of pharaohs, sacred rituals, and lost knowledge. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss this.
Egypt, a land of ancient wonders, has stood as one of the most powerful and enduring civilizations on Earth. This breathtaking aerial journey offers exclusive access to some of its most extraordinary sites, revealing how the achievements of the ancients continue to shape modern Egypt. Soaring above its vast and diverse landscapes, we witness how generations of Egyptians battled harsh terrain and extreme temperatures to build a civilization like no other. Covering nearly 400,000 square miles and home to almost 100 million people, Egypt is the largest and most populous country in the Arab world. Yet, life here has never been easy. 97% of the land is arid desert. So how did the ancient Egyptians establish such a powerful civilization? A bird's-eye view of the country reveals the answer: the mighty Nile River. Stretching over 4,000 miles, it is the longest river in the world. Without it, the ancient Egyptians might never have built their empire or their monumental achievements. One of the most iconic of these ancient wonders lies just 8 miles from the heart of Cairo. From the air, the scale of their engineering is astounding. Composed of an estimated 10 million tons of stone, the Pyramids of Giza remain among the largest ever built. The oldest and biggest, the Great Pyramid of Giza, was completed over 4,500 years ago. It was built using over 2 million sandstone blocks, each weighing more than a car. Created as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, it is the only surviving wonder of the ancient world. At 480 feet high, it remained the tallest man-made structure on Earth for 3,500 years. American archaeologist Mark Leaner has spent over 4 decades unlocking the secrets of the pyramids. From my very first sight of the Great Pyramid of Khufu, the Giza pyramids became my life's work, he says. Leaner and his team have uncovered evidence of a vast workforce that once inhabited a city at the foot of the pyramids. This settlement, known as the Workers' Village, covered 13 hectares and included bakeries, workshops, houses, and grain silos. He believes that 20,000 laborers lived here, quarrying the 5.7 million tons of sandstone needed to construct the Great Pyramid alone. Aerial views of the nearby Pyramid of Khafre reveal another mystery. Unlike the Great Pyramid, its summit still retains smooth stones that once encased the entire structure. Originally, the Great Pyramid was also covered with polished white limestone, which would have gleamed brilliantly under the sun. The limestone came from quarries in Tura, 8 miles away across the Nile. But how did the ancients transport massive stones across the desert and the river? Mark Leaner believes the answer lies in the remains of a vast harbor and canal complex, where floodwaters from the Nile once helped transport stones to the construction site. The Nile was not just crucial for transport, but also for survival. Even today, millions of Egyptians rely on it. In southern Egypt, on Elephantine Island, fisherman Youssef Mohammed and his young son Karim carry on a tradition passed down through generations. My family has lived on the Nile for over 100 years, Youssef says. My father was a fisherman, his father was a fisherman, and now I'm teaching my son the same way. The Nubian community, among the oldest settlers of the Nile Valley, has relied on the river for thousands of years. But modern developments, including the construction of the Aswan High Dam, have displaced many. Still, Youssef remains dedicated to passing down his ancestors' traditions. To reach the best fishing grounds, Youssef and Karim navigate their small boat across the congested Nile waters, skillfully dodging ferries and white-sailed feluccas. Using an ancient technique, Youssef strikes the water to drive fish into his nets. After an hour, they have caught enough tilapia for their evening meal. Back at their village, the fish is dusted with flour and fried using a traditional Nubian recipe. For thousands of years, Egyptians have depended on the Nile not only for food but also for farming. Before dams controlled the river's height, annual monsoon rains in Ethiopia would cause the Nile to flood, depositing fertile silt across the floodplains. The ancient Egyptians developed a system to forecast the perfect flood using a device known as a nilometer, which measured the water level and predicted agricultural success. Today, 96% of Egypt's population lives on the 3% of land that is irrigated by the Nile. Beyond these fertile lands, the terrain becomes unforgiving. The Sinai Peninsula, in particular, is one of the harshest environments, with rainfall as scarce as 1 inch per year. Yet, the Bedouin people have called this desert home for millennia. Qudra Eld Merazid, a Bedouin shepherdess, has lived her entire life in this remote landscape. Finding food is difficult, she explains. There is little rain and little vegetation. The Bedouin have long relied on their deep knowledge of the desert. Aerial views reveal dry gullies across the terrain, where Qudra knows underground moisture sustains plant life. While her goats graze, she collects a desert plant called agram, which she crushes and mixes with water to create a natural soap. It's enough for today, she says. Tomorrow I will search again. The Bedouin have mastered survival in the desert, but the ancients used these wastelands for a very different purpose: tombs for their pharaohs. The Western Desert is home to some of the most famous burial sites, including the Great Pyramid of Giza, built nearly 4,700 years ago. However, tomb raiders looted many of these pyramids, prompting the pharaohs to construct secret tombs in a remote desert valley. The Valley of the Kings became the burial ground for Egyptian rulers for 500 years, with at least 63 royal tombs hidden beneath a pyramid-shaped mountain. The most famous of these is the tomb of Tutankhamun, discovered in 1922 by British archaeologist Howard Carter. Inside, he found over 5,000 priceless artifacts, including the boy king's golden death mask and an intricately crafted throne. Today, over 1.5 million visitors explore the Valley of the Kings each year. However, the high foot traffic threatens the preservation of these ancient tombs. Conservator Lori Wong and her team have installed a ventilation system to protect the delicate artwork from dust accumulation. We want future generations to experience the tomb just as we have, she says. Egypt's mighty pharaohs left their mark across the country, but not all structures visible from the air are monuments to rulers. In Cairo's historic neighborhood of Gamaliel, wooden pigeon towers rise above the rooftops. Pigeon breeding has been part of Egyptian culture for thousands of years, once used for food and now as a competitive sport. Hassan Mohammed Hossein, known as the pigeon ruler of Gamaliel, has spent decades perfecting his craft. In competitions, breeders release their birds together, attempting to lure rivals' pigeons into their own flocks. It's like football, Hassan explains. Catching pigeons is like scoring goals. Today, he faces a critical match to retain his title. As the sun sets over Egypt, the past and present intertwine. From the Great Pyramids to the fishing traditions of the Nile, from the Bedouins of Sinai to the pigeon racers of Cairo, Egypt remains a land where ancient ways endure in a modern world. High above Cairo, Two competitors prepare to guide their pigeons home. In just a few minutes, the birds will be within range of their coops. The goal is simple: lure back their own pigeons while capturing as many of their rivals' birds as possible. Victory goes to whoever secures the most. Back at his tower, Hassan spots the approaching pigeons. He calls them in, raising a flag to distinguish his competitors' birds. Waving and whistling, he coaxes them towards his coop. As they land, he checks their tags to determine ownership. All of Hassan's pigeons return safely, while his rival, Kudo Adam, fails to lure any away. Hassan, however, has claimed one of Kudo's birds. With this triumph, he retains his title until the next contest. "I'm so happy, so pleased that I won," he exclaims. Egyptians' deep bond with pigeons is just one legacy inherited from the time of the pharaohs. The grand monuments they built still stand as testaments to their power. These were no ordinary rulers. They proclaimed themselves gods and demanded worship even after death. Nowhere is this more evident than on the west bank of the Nile, across from Luxor. Over 2 millennia, pharaohs constructed mortuary temples here to immortalize their reigns and secure their divine legacy. Their true scale is best appreciated from the sky. At dawn, experienced hot air balloon pilot Baha Ahmed prepares to navigate the skies above these ancient wonders. He takes off in the cool morning air, when wind currents are most predictable. Flying here requires great skill. The jagged mountains create turbulent winds. The biggest challenge is wind shear, Baha explains. "We keep our distance to ensure safety." Baha steers his balloon towards one of Egypt's most iconic sites, the Temple of Hatshepsut, carved into the mountainside. Built by one of the few female pharaohs, Hatshepsut ensured her temple surpassed those of her male predecessors. From the balloon, it's breathtaking, Baha marvels. The design is beyond words. As the sun climbs higher, Baha prepares for a trickier flight. He must navigate shifting winds to reach the grandest mortuary temple of them all, the Ramesseum, dedicated to Ramses II, Egypt's most prolific builder. Constructed in the 13th century BCE, the vast complex once housed a colossal statue of Ramses himself, standing 6 stories tall and weighing nearly 1,000 tons. Even in ruins, it serves as a powerful reminder that Ramses was more than a man, he was a god. As the landscape transitions from desert to lush farmland, Baha searches for a safe landing spot. "With balloons, you never know exactly where you'll land," he says. "Every day presents a new challenge." Though the pharaohs once claimed divine status, their rule was not eternal. After 3,000 years of dominance, Egypt fell to the Romans. Over time, belief in many gods faded, replaced by Christianity. One of Egypt's most sacred Christian sites is Mount Sinai, where the Bible says Moses encountered the burning bush and received the 10 Commandments. In the 6th century CE, Emperor Justinian I ordered the construction of St. Catherine's Monastery at its base, making it the world's oldest continuously inhabited monastery. Father Macarius, a monk who left Denver, Colorado, to live here, reflects on its uniqueness. Nowhere else in the world exists a place like this. The monastery's great basilica has hosted daily prayers for 1,500 years, an unbroken tradition unmatched anywhere else. Preparing for the morning service, Father Macarius notes, "Life here follows strict rules. We abandon modern comforts to live in the wilderness, connected to faith." Egypt's commitment to preserving its history continues today. Near the Giza pyramids, a race is on to complete the Grand Egyptian Museum, a $1 billion project designed to house the nation's greatest treasures. This ambitious undertaking involves transporting priceless artifacts across Cairo's congested streets. The Egyptian Museum has held the world's largest collection of ancient relics for over a century, but its neoclassical building is now too small. The new museum, spanning 5.2 million square feet, will be the largest in the world dedicated to a single civilization. Among the artifacts making the 11-mile journey to their new home is a 3,000-year-old statue of Ramses II and the goddess Anat. Asa Zidane, head of Antiquities Restoration, ensures its safe transport. This statue is priceless. It represents our civilization, culture, and heritage. Carefully wrapped for protection, the statue embarks on a tense journey. Driver Zakaria Muhammad, tasked with its transport, admits his nerves. "I'm proud but anxious. If anything happens, I'd be devastated." To guarantee safe passage, a police escort accompanies the convoy, maintaining a steady speed of 12 miles per hour. After an hour of careful driving, Ramses arrives unscathed. "Every trip is stressful," Zakaria says, "but seeing the artifacts safely delivered fills me with pride." Soon, the statue will take its place on the museum's grand staircase. When the Grand Egyptian Museum opens, Asa Zidane reflects, "I hope our work will be remembered." From above, Egypt's landscapes reveal a nation that embraces its past while forging ahead. The marks of ancient civilization still dominate the terrain, and in many ways, life here remains unchanged for millennia. In the land of the pharaohs, the ancient and modern exist side by side.
Backhand index pointing right if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.